Today we got a chance to sit down with the powerhouse, Stephanie, from Stephanie Martin Interior Design. Check it out. Let's just dive into it. Okay. So tell me a little bit about Stephanie Martin Interior Design and a little bit about Stephanie in general, like what fuels you, what's the ethos of the company?
Okay. Stephanie Martin Interior Design is mostly a residential focused interior design company. Many years ago, I kind of switched from working with production homes and kind of a very fast-paced, large quantity project load and really narrowing down and defining who my ideal client is and focusing specifically on those ideal clients that are larger, much more involved projects, but fewer of them. And the reason for that is our number one focus and core value is client service. Design is what we do, but service is really what we provide. And with that being our focus, a lot of our projects now are really that full scope. So if it's a renovation, it's kind of the full home, undertaking every area from the concept of the renovation. Sometimes we're moving around spaces all the way through to the furnishing and placing that last kind of coffee table book and making the beds. And when it's a new home construction, we're working with the clients from the point of what their vision is for how the home is going to feel, helping them through the architectural phase, again, all the way through to that furnishing and decor. And we're along for that entire journey with the clients.
Cool. I love that you have already jumped right into the conversation around like right sizing or right fitting your business. So I think we're going to start there. Tell me a little bit about what led you down that path of realizing you can't be everything to everybody, and kind of narrowing your focus and finding that ideal customer type. What kind of instigated that?
I would say it was probably a few things that were compounding over time. And I realized that I wasn't really happy in what I was doing, and I wasn't really finding fulfillment because I was working so much on running the company and getting clients in and getting clients out and that kind of high production. At the time, we also had a very large team, and so there was just a lot of management. But on a day-to-day, I wasn't doing a lot of design and I wasn't working with kind of those high-touch clients, and I feel that's really where I specialize. So personally, I wasn't really fulfilled by that, and I don't think that clients were getting our best work, which I didn't love. So I switched things around and really spent about a year, because it was over my maternity leave. I spent about a full year really kind of diving deep to understand what I wanted to provide, what I could best provide to clients, and who are the clients who would want to receive that level of service. And when I had defined that, I followed a book called The Pumpkin Patch. I don't know if you've read it.
No, haven't read that one.
Very dry book with great information, where they kind of talk about saying no to absolutely everything and everyone other than that defined ideal client. Because that ideal client, even if there's just one, you take that and you do your absolute best work for them, and that will lead to another and another and another. And truly the concept of that book, The Pumpkin Patch, worked phenomenally well. And I have followed that methodology and concept kind of to this point. And so all of our clients have a similar ideology, buy into our services and the value that we provide, and are happy to follow our process. And it has really allowed us to kind of do, I would say, and put out the best work of my career so far.
Awesome. I think it's like fascinating how a single article, a video, or a book can literally change the trajectory of someone's business. Are there any other assets or resources like that that have been instrumental in reshaping Stephanie Martin Interior Design?
I would say many.
Maybe top three?
Yeah. One of the downfalls of owning your own business and owning your own business for as long as I have, I started right out of school, is kind of the lack of mentorship. You can only learn so much from yourself. And so I would say that around that same time, I started really kind of cruising through audiobooks because we drive around a lot as designers. So anything that's recommended to me, any kind of business books, I will cruise through, take what I can from them, and sometimes they fit and sometimes they don't. Seeking mentorship from other people, whether they're in the industry or not, and really being open to share information, because when you share information and you're willing to kind of help other people, give them a leg up or give some great advice, generally you receive really interesting perspective and advice and help in return.
I agree 100%. So I actually share that philosophy, and I think that being immersed in the community, and helping people without a necessary return on that investment being seen, and just investing in the community, investing in people, and giving without asking or expecting anything in return. I also think that that's just the best way to do business.
Mhm.
So, what are some of the ways that you are involved in the community and supporting others? Providing contacts and providing value to people inside the space. And what are some of the ways that you've seen that reciprocated?
It's a really interesting question. I think you nailed it on the head when you said just being really immersed within the design community, and very immersed as well within our clients' lives. I think that lifting people up and supporting people in any way, big or small, is one of the things that I find a lot of joy in and try really hard to do. I don't think that you're ever too busy to pass on a kind word or a word of encouragement, to write someone a note and say, thank you so much for the great job you did. The product information you gave me was instrumental to the success of this job. And I think that really making sure every single person who's involved on a project feels highly valued and imperative to that success of the project, which they are, is something that I take very seriously on a day-to-day basis. And then I would say being involved in the community, kind of any chance I get to help out with an event or show up to someone's event to give them support, to connect people together that I think would be really a great fit to get to know each other and kind of to just be that connecting piece and then let them go find their success together. I think kind of all of those kind of small things that you do on a daily basis, are a great help to the community. And they do tend to be reciprocated by allowing you to be top of mind for other people if they think you would be a great fit for someone, or a great fit for an opportunity, maybe.
Great answer. And I think that, even in our experience of working together, that's exactly it. Is
Mhm.
we work with a variety of different clients, lots of interior designers, but few of them are a master connector in the way you are with connecting trades and different builders and designers all together. So I think that that's a really great strategy, and we appreciate it for sure. Because you're dealing with so many different personalities
Mhm.
and you're dealing with so many different scopes of work on a project, there must be things that trades, contractors, builders, people that are actually doing the work or supplying the products do, in order to stand out from the rest, right? Why is one furnishing company better than another? Why is one window fashion supplier better, or a tiler, or a architectural technologist, or whatever it is, that scope of work that's needed? What are the things that those people do that make your life as a designer easier, provide value to the client and the project overall, and kind of solidify that relationship, so they're top of mind for you when you get on to the next project? What are those things those people do?
Yeah, I would say the trades and the product reps and the people that end up being top of mind, for me, are the ones that offer the most support. So I'm really open to those experts giving me their expertise or giving that to the client. I don't like to come in as like, it's my way or the highway. I'm bringing these skilled people onto the project with me so that they can offer their perspective and their expertise. So I really like when somebody comes in, they listen to the project intent and understand what we're trying to do, and then they're able to offer kind of creative solutions or ways to get there. Or if I come to them and say, this is what I'm thinking, but there's a better way to do it or a more cost-effective way to do it, then I appreciate them kind of speaking up to say that. And then, of course, everything moves so fast. And we're responsible to our clients and our contractors for getting them information. So the people who respond to us quickly and efficiently and give us the information we need, are able to pull together a quote, stand behind the information and the quotes that they give us, and are just really, I think, responsive. That makes a big difference to me. And then the personal relationship. Like, I understand that this is all work, but for the people that I work with regularly, like, I do want to have a joke or know who your family is, or if you had a great weekend, or share in those hardships and support each other. And I think that building those personal relationships is such a key factor to having those people be top of mind.
Awesome. And that makes me think of 3 words, and collaboration would be number 1, communication would be number 2, and then a sense of community would be number 3.
I
So
absolutely
people
agree.
that excel in all 3 of those and have those as values in their business or the way that they do things, it kind of connects with the way that you do things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. On the topic of the way we do things, what are some of the processes or the technologies that you've learned to implement over the years that make you more efficient, that might be useful for somebody in the design, construction, or the trade space? What are some of those, tricks of the trade that you find useful? So one, an example I use is Asana. That's something that we use for project management, or having a robust CRM system, or we recently talked about Company Cam as a tool on site for not having 5,000 photos on your camera roll. Like, what are some of those tools that you implement that you think are really useful for people in our space?
Okay, so in terms of
Yeah,
technology,
technology
I
tools.
am not as technology savvy as I wish I was, or as you
I don't know. Your
are.
drawings are pretty good.
The drawings do need to be pristine, but I would say in terms of kind of technology and communication, I find that simple and accessible is the way to go.
Okay.
So in the office, we use kind of Google Sheets and Google Docs so that everybody can work off of the same kind of ongoing documents and see it in live time. Monday morning, we sit in the office with a coffee first thing, and we pull up our client spreadsheet. Our client spreadsheet is a master list of every project we have. What are the next kind of 5 tasks upcoming? Who's working on it? What needs to be done? And we go through every single client at the start of the week to discuss what needs to happen for them and game plan how we're going to do that. So these kind of continual strategy sessions as we move through the project allows us to move through our design process very systematically. And the design process that we have developed creates this beautiful build package that has all the information the builders need, and it allows us to keep clients on track. So we are very kind of systematic and process driven. Once we've gone through that design process with the clients, everything gets put in a shared Dropbox folder that everybody has access to. And when I say everybody, it's us, it's the clients, it's the contractor, and it's every single trade on that job. And because it's housed in that one spot, anytime there's an update, we update it in live feed. So we ask that nobody prints the drawings, everybody accesses it from our Dropbox only. And we actually have these
Oh,
kind of
cool.
QR codes that are on. Yeah. So it's on every project as soon as you walk in, and we ask the trades every day that you come in, scan in and check all of the drawings and the specs. So that's kind of how we ensure that everybody's looking at the most updated information at all times.
Awesome. From a technical operations or business perspective, that sounds like a really great way to make sure that there's no miscommunications. Um, what are some of the lessons you've learned over the years in terms of how you actually run the business itself? So deposit structures, setting clear expectations and contracts for trades and builders, clients. Tell me a little bit about documentation, process, deposit structures. Like, how have you learned to evolve your process over time?
I think the biggest evolution is just understanding how critical processes are to have in place, especially when we're looking at scaling a business. And it doesn't matter if the task is big or small, there should be a process for it, and then I would further that by saying a template. So all of our team can go on and look through and see what all of our standard emails look like. If you're onboarding a client, this is the email. When you're sending an invoice, this is the email. This is how you send it. This is what it looks like. It creates consistency within our business as well. So
I love it.
I'm very stringent on controlling what that client experience looks and feels like, no matter who you're working with within the company. And I think that it's not reinventing the wheel every day on every task. If you have written an email more than twice, that should be a templated, standardized email. If you are doing a task more than twice, there should be a standard process from it. And so what we've done is it's like climbing a mountain to do all of that at
Oh yeah.
once. So we do it on an ongoing basis every single
There's a
day.
new template, there's a new SOP.
And we just constantly add them in,
Yeah.
and we're constantly refining. You know what? This line would have been helpful to have in this scenario. It likely would have been helpful to have that line in every scenario, in every contract. So we're constantly kind of updating that, talking about them and strategizing. And then I'm always sort of asking the team, refer to that. Look for that. And if you're looking for it and it isn't there, then let's pause. Let's discuss as a team and let's create that process or that template today.
Awesome. And I think that's super important. You said the word scaling, and that's just it is, you can't scale a business, whether you're a one-person solar operator or a 100-person firm, without those processes.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that we learned way too late. And a lot of business owners, regardless of their field, take for granted because they've done things their way and it's been working. And then there's a lot of challenges and strife that could have been overcome had there been that template, that process, that standardization, even for the one-person operation who should just be doing the same thing for consistency.
That's right.
That's a really good answer. Tying all the way back to kind of the evolution of the business and your ethos and how you created value for customers by narrowing your focus, focusing on key client types, key avatars, developing these processes and really upgrading the business as a whole. In that process and over the years, I'm sure you found a number of challenging clients to work with. So maybe without, any names, who are some of the most challenging types of clients maybe that an interior designer or somebody in the space might come up against? Is that, homeowner that maybe doesn't want to relinquish control or wants you to set the creative direction, but then doesn't want to take any of your ideas? Or is it the builder that, is sometimes late on payables or takes your ideas and implements them as though they're own? Like, what are some of the challenges that we see from a client perspective as an interior designer or an interior design firm? So what are some of the most challenging client types? And then what are some of the most challenging trades or subcontractors on the other side? So tell me a little bit about challenging clients and challenging trades and what makes them difficult to work with or less than ideal.
It's something that's interesting because everybody brings their own challenges, especially when you're talking about clients, because clients are coming into this with big dreams and often spending a great deal of their savings, and they're putting so much into it. It's such an emotional journey. And so we kind of have to accept along the way that clients are going to go through this emotional journey, and sometimes we're along for the ride. We try to set them up to understand that, but sometimes you end up being kind of at the brunt of that emotional journey, no matter what you do to try to be successful. And the emotion can be challenging because we do try so hard to please and to make it an exciting and enjoyable experience. And I think for me, the most challenging clients tend to be the clients who don't buy into the joy of the process, because I love it so much. So clients who are coming in with a bone to pick, or clients who are trying to, and this unfortunately does happen, who are trying to play this game of almost pinning people against each other, contractor versus designer. Well, the designer said this and the contractor said that. And we really believe and will only work in a team environment. So we are on the contractor's team and we are on the client's team. And in fact, we're all together. So seeing emails that go across where, someone's strategically left out of the email and it's going to interrupt communication. And that's something that we actually take like a very firm approach on. And this is maybe the one thing that I've let clients go over, where I've had to say, we're not going to have a successful project if we don't all fully believe that we're on the same team. So when a problem arises, we need to handle it as a team, we need to understand that we are all here in the best interest of each other and the best interest of the project, and we're all here giving our best. So I would say, for me, one of the most challenging kind of personality traits that a client can bring is that it's me against you attitude, because it just never works out or feels good for anybody involved.
Got you. And I think that kind of ties back to our 3 C's, right? Like if somebody's not going to be collaborative
Yes.
and they're not going to communicate, it's going to be hard for us to have a successful project.
Yeah.
And would you say that that's the same for trades, or, I'm assuming trades, I'm guessing, might be difficult if they think that, their way is the only way, or their solution that they're providing is the only way, or they're not willing to come up with creative solutions to the problem. Like, tell me a little bit on the other side of what kind of trades or subcontractors are difficult to work with. We know the ones that don't communicate are a problem, but what other things are?
I mean, of course, communication is key. And I actually am not opposed to a trade or a contractor coming in and saying, like, there's a better way to do something, because they are the expert in their field. And when they come to me and say there's a better way to do something, I'm more curious. Like, I want to learn about that. Tell me what it is and tell me why it's better, because I may come out of that conversation or that job having learned something really new that I take on to my next jobs going forward. Again, as long as it's communicated respectfully and it's talked about, because it can be very difficult if we have walked a client through our vision and we've made sure they understand the design, and then we go on site and it's different and it's been done differently and the conversation hasn't happened. And that can be very difficult, because then we're not talking about making a change. We're talking to the client about, like, is this a compromise? Do you like it this way? And we're behind the ball. So I would say that communication is always the most beneficial, and anything that could be a challenge is generally mitigated and comes out as a positive aspect of the project if you communicate it first. Yeah. I haven't experienced trades doing that in a very long time, but we start our standard email by saying, this is our design and solutions. We welcome your feedback and we value your expertise. Let's walk through it together.
Awesome. As somebody who's been in the design industry for a minute and has seen the trajectory that we're on, what are some of your goals for Stephanie Martin Interior Design for the next 3 years, 5 years? And where do you think we're going to see the industry head over that same period?
The industry is such an exciting one to be in right now, because so many clients are well educated on design and they value interior design. They value, putting the time and effort up front into making their home amazing. That has really changed from when I started in the industry. Interior design was kind of seen as this extra luxury service, and now, and it may be reflective of what people are spending on their homes now and the cost of things. But I find that the general public and majority of clientele value design so much and value our expertise. And it's really seen as such a professional service, more so than when I started in the industry. So that is very exciting. And I would say that I expect that will only increase. Again, social media and imagery and Pinterest, that's been such a big part of it, because people are exposed to different levels of design and how life-changing that can be to get to experience living in that on a day-to-day basis. And I think that our industry is growing rapidly because of the exposure that people have to design now.
And what's the plan for your firm throughout the next 3 to 5 years to ride that wave of growth and to continue to establish yourself in the market? Are you hoping to add more members to the team, more scopes of work, different scopes of work? Tell me a little bit just about kind of like your 1, 3, 5-year plan.
Yeah. Similar to my philosophy on clients, where I'd rather have fewer clients, but larger jobs and clients who are well serviced. I'm not necessarily looking to have a huge team, but what I am actively working on growing is a very select team of highly skilled, very collaborative people who love what they do, are fantastic at what they do, and who enjoy working together. I think going into the office every day and working with a group of people right now, it's a group of all females who are just absolute powerhouses and so talented. That is one of the most fulfilling parts of my job. And so working on the business is a really exciting thing for me right now, just growing that, finding those clients and being just as selective with our clients. So we're looking for clients who are willing to take design risks, want to think outside the box, are willing to kind of buy into our vision and see it through to completion. And what we get out of this are projects that I just feel so incredibly proud of, careers that our team members feel that they can continue to grow and expand in, and projects that they feel personally fulfilled by. And I think as I've gotten older in this industry, I've just become really focused and a lot more interested on the quality of the people and the projects that I take on as opposed to the quantity. So I think what you're going to see from us is just increasingly interesting spaces where we're really kind of expanding as creatives.
Cool.
And working with clients and trades and contractors who share kind of all of those values. And then I think on a personal career front, I've been in design for 15 years now, and it's great. And I'm definitely looking at kind of how and where can I expand into the community as a thought leader within the industry? How can I kind of share the trials and tribulations I've been through? How can I be a mentor? And then the younger designers who are working with me, I'm really interested in, like, tell me about your perspective and why do we want to do that? And instead of being like, this is my design and this is how I want it to be, it has really become this beautiful collaborative design firm where we're all in it together, being like, how can we push each other and how can we make this the best project it can be that is truly reflective and unique to this client?
Awesome. I think that, like, as you go down that path of tightening up your processes, developing, attracting, and retaining key talent, pushing the creative envelope, you're going to see a lot of success. I know you will, because you're an amazing businesswoman and person, and a lovely designer to work with. So I'm sure you'll see massive success. To kind of like close out our conversation, I think something that's really interesting is that you have expressed an interest in sharing your trials and tribulations, offering mentorship, immersing yourself in the community. We've talked about this off camera, that's something that I'm really passionate about and wanting to explore, as well as, how do you become a thought leader and help people in the community, full stop. And you kind of touched on it. I think social media and marketing and digital media are fantastic ways to do that. So what are some of the things that you're going to be focusing on from the digital media side? Is it your Instagram? Is it YouTube? Are we talking about coaching and classes or webinars? Like, what are some of the strategies you think will be successful for your firm to continue to attract, retain, and develop talent, but to attract the right kind of customers, and then to push your vision forward to become a thought leader and to, create that rising tide raising all ships? Like, what's the plan for using computers to do that?
Yeah. It's a tough question because it's definitely, kind of on my vision board, and it's a goal, and it's something that I know we're kind of on the cusp on, but I would say that I'm sort of dipping my toes in the water right now and seeing what there's a need for and what people are interested in. Through Instagram, my eyes have really been open to how you can kind of create this online community and connect with people that otherwise you would never cross paths with. And that has been really interesting and enlightening for me. Kind of using that as a tool to widen our reach. And I would love to kind of expand on that with kind of the larger format with YouTube and things like that. But we also are still running this busy interior design firm, and I am still doing the design. So right now it tends to be kind of on the go, off the cuff, very in the moment and real. This is what I'm going through as a designer, and this is what we're doing on the project, or this is what that challenge is. And it's really interesting the amount of messages I get on the back end from other designers or people who might be going through a renovation, but a lot of other industry members being like, would you mind getting a coffee and talking about this? Or, I'm going through this issue with a client. Have you experienced that? I'm always open to that, and I try to be very responsive and have these incredible kind of conversations with people through that. So a lot of the conversations and kind of helping out with other community or industry members right now is kind of happening in that
On the fly.
fashion, on the
Yeah.
fly. And it's like, you know what, I don't know who you are, but yes, I will grab that cup of coffee with you and tell me about what you're dealing with, and let's talk about it. To me, it feels, I don't know, very kind of connected and very personal and just very genuine. And I've been loving that. But if there are opportunities for it in a different way, and I'm sure we're going to actively kind of seek that in a bigger way, that's very much to be determined right now.
Awesome. I love that trajectory and that vision, because I think that this industry, design and construction as a whole, often has been very closed door.
Yeah.
A lot of people, trades, builders, designers, hold their keys to success and their resources close to their chest. And I think it's done a disservice to the industry as a whole, because the more we can collaborate and share ideas, the stronger we can make everybody, and the better the experience will be for, homeowners and our clients.
Absolutely.
So I think helping people in the community is a really great way to do that.
Yeah, and I've had a lot of designers in the community, and I have a lot of builders as well, who have been incredible mentors to me and have offered their expertise and their opinions, or just given me those words of encouragement that have mattered more to me than I think a lot of them would ever realize, and given me advice that I've followed that have been changing for my business and my career. And I think especially now more than ever, people are becoming so open to sharing, and it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of.
For those out there wondering,
Mhm.
how does one actually get into a career in interior design? What are some of the steps for, doing this?
Well, in Calgary, we're lucky enough to have Mount Royal University, and they have a great CETA accredited interior design program, which is really important. So it's a full degree program, and you learn a ton about the construction of a home. So if you're interested in interior design, as opposed to just decorating, then getting that background knowledge and education is really crucial. You absolutely need to do that. So look into a program, dive deep into it. It's tough, but it's so beneficial, and Mount Royal was just top notch.
A great program.
Yeah. And then coming out of it, I would say something I would do differently is to reach out to other industry members to get a job in the industry, doing anything. Anything is beneficial, and just learning, taking a few years to learn as much as you can, because while you learn so much about kind of interior design and the construction and how to do the drawings, what you don't learn about in the program is kind of the business of interior design, how do budgets work, how much per square foot is a tile, like all of those kind of nitty-gritty details, and product information is really, really key. When I was in high school, I was actually a receptionist at a flooring store, and I worked evenings and weekends, and there was a designer there who I loved and had a lot of aspirations to be a designer, and she would let me quietly sit in on her selection meetings.
Cool.
And I would just take in all of the product information. So when she was speaking to the clients about whether it was the properties of certain, flooring and tiles and hardwood, or the budget side of things, and then I would offer to do her paperwork so that I could get used to how that was done and how you put together a spec sheet. So like every little thing that you can learn, go in with an open mind, ask questions, follow the processes that are set in place, and be humble. It is amazing how much someone will teach you if you say, how can I help you? Where can I add value to you? And how can I do that? And you will just learn through osmosis. So I started my company straight out of school. So straight out of design school. So instead of working for other designers and learning, I learned a lot by making astronomical mistakes.
And you could avoid some of those
And
mistakes,
yes.
had you joined or interned, worked for a trade, worked for a supplier, worked for a builder,
Yes.
worked for another designer instead of just going out on your own. And I think that is another really great point, is that they don't, and I think that's true, not just in design, but in a lot of different fields, where the actual business, the actual reality of being an entrepreneur in that space is something that's really hard to coach or teach in school. And so learning through osmosis is a great way to do that.
It is. And I, once we had started our business and we started to understand how much we didn't understand, it became very clear we needed to do some more learning. And Leanne Bennell, who is just like an instrumental designer in the community, she was hosting a seminar, a few-day seminar called The Business of Design. And I signed up for that and took that seminar and learned as much as I could. And then that program also has like podcasts and different kind of online things. And so I got involved with the community. I met other designers there. I learned as much as I could from the program. And then I started paying for and taking other programs. And still to this day, I listen to different podcasts about running a design business or being in the design business in the past few years. So the first one that I took, The Business of Design, Leanne Bennell had hosted it, and it's Kimberly Seldon's The Business of Design. If you are wanting to get in the industry, reach out to community connectors like Leanne. Take those additional courses like Kimberly Seldon's The Business of Design. And right now, I have been listening to, for the past number of years, it's called Design Sips by Sandra Funk. And she has just an amazing, really funny kind of YouTube. And she talks all about running an interior design business, how to be profitable, how to service clients, what to put in a contract. And I just think that what I learned early on in my career is the importance of ongoing learning. And 15 years later, I prioritize learning from others just as much as I did year one.
What an answer. The other thing I'd like to ask you is, you dropped a few names there. Is there anybody that inspired you in the past or inspires you today in the industry as a creative? Who are some of the people that you look up to or give you that juice every day?
Yeah. I mean, there's so many designers that I would say I count as friends, who are also just massive inspirations to me and offer really good advice. So Lewis is I always refer to Lewis as my work husband. He's a close personal friend, but we chat about business so often, and we get together. And if I have an issue in my business that, of course, we're not going to discuss with our team members or employees, he's my first call to be like, this is what's going on. Have you run into this situation? How would you respond to this? And I think checking in with people, and Lewis has also been a big inspiration to me. He has a marketing background, and he's the first person to say to me, you need to submit that project for publication, or you need to put yourself out there for an opportunity. And he has really pushed me significantly to do that. And we've had great success with it. But I don't know if I would have done it on my own, a little bit of imposter syndrome, if I didn't have another industry member kind of cheering me on from the background. So removing any of that, removing the idea of being, there's only so many opportunities, and being competitive and really just cheering each other on has been a good one. There's lots of other designers whose businesses I look up to so much. Amanda and Rochelle from Amanda Hamilton, they're good friends of mine, and they are just powerhouses in the industry, and run such an incredible business with so many team members, and they run it so well. Aside from doing incredible design, they run such a beautiful business. And the tidbits that I've learned from them, Amanda had said at a talk that I watched about the importance of having her team members be entrepreneurs and giving them the autonomy to be creative and to run their projects and to take ownership. And that tidbit that I got from her talk was a game changer for me. So I think you can kind of, if you're open to learning and you're open to, collaborating instead of being competitive, you're going to take something away from everyone.
Amazing. We love collaborating with you.
Honestly, do you remember when we had a coffee?
I do.
You called me and you said, we have to get together for a coffee and we have to sit down. And we sat down at the Starbucks and you talked to me about what Sonata offers to designers. And not one part of that particular conversation, was about the products that you offer. It was about the service and the support that you offer. And those things are so crucial, for any relationship. But you stand by them. The service and the support that I consistently receive from Sonata, your team, but very specifically from you, are so instrumental. And I trust you with all of my jobs and clients. And that's not to say that everything's going to go perfect, because that's not realistic. I don't trust you to nail it 110%, but I trust you to always be there for that service and support for myself and for the clients. And you are, and so is your team. And I've learned a lot about, we talk about business and about how to offer that same service and support to my team members and my trades and my builders and my clients from you.
And I think something that's really unique, and that's why I got excited when you were talking about what your 1, 3, and 5 year looks like. I think you have a ton of value and a ton of experience to share with the design community. And I think you can do the exact same thing for other designers and help them grow their business. We're just a trade doing some products. I think you could be instrumental in changing people's trajectory in the design field if they're just getting into this. So,
well, I love that.
We're excited to be aligned with you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're sitting here in CF Interior's beautiful showroom. We're going to be sitting down with Jim actually in a couple weeks.
Amazing.
So we're really excited about that. We got to sit down with Allison at their North Vancouver store.
She's incredible.
Just before IDS West.
Yeah.
And we're really excited to do that interview with Jim. But just tell us a little bit in closing about, this space, working through here, working with Jim, working with CF. I know why we love them. Why do you guys love them?
CF is every designer's kind of best friend, and so is Jim. Jim generally signs off his emails by saying something to the effect of, let me know if there's any way I can make your day better. And he will. And he is always the first to put his hand up with an enthusiastic yes if you ask for or need anything. Of course, we get the majority of our furniture and client furniture through CF because they open up the accessibility to so many incredible brands. And they work so well with designers, and they're a great resource. But further to that, and I would say more important to that, is the service side as well. So we wanted to do a little bit of community outreach, and we wanted to sponsor the stage at the Women in Wealth Gala and put furniture there. Of course, I needed to get furniture from somewhere. One call to Jim, he's like, say no more, whatever you need. And that literally was his answer. Say no more, whatever you need. We had a project recently that the clients weren't going to do the furniture for some time, but we wanted to photograph it, so we needed to stage it. Say no more, whatever you need. That's always what we get from Jim and really his entire team, and the support that he gives the entire community, and how much CF kind of brings the community, the design community together, is very special.
Yeah, we love them, and I would say that's the exact same reasons why.
Yeah, that's probably why we're sitting here today. We need somewhere to shoot this interview. Say no more, whatever you need.
Say no more.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Steph.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. You crushed it.
This was fun.
Nailed it.
I love it.
Gents, all right.